The allure of social media was inescapable, and my Instagram feed was a constant scroll of carefully curated lives. But then, one day, I noticed something odd. A new follower. Someone I didn't recognize. Their handle was a jumble of letters and numbers, and their profile picture was a nondescript silhouette. I brushed it off initially, chalking it up to a random follow. But as days turned into weeks, their presence became more pronounced. They liked every post, commented on every story, their messages growing increasingly personal and intrusive. It was unsettling, but I tried to ignore it. Then, I began to notice them in the background of my photos. A shadowy figure standing across the street, partially hidden behind a tree. A blurry silhouette in a crowd. Always lurking, always watching. Panic fluttered in my chest, but I convinced myself it was just my imagination running wild. One evening, I received a direct message. It was a photo of me, taken from behind, walking down the street. The caption read, "I'm always right behind you." My heart raced and a cold sweat broke out on my forehead. I turned off my location settings and tightened my online security, hoping it would end there. But the messages continued, each one more chilling than the last. They seemed to know things about me, places I frequented, people I met, even my daily routines. I was a prisoner in my own life, constantly looking over my shoulder, wondering if they were there, watching. Then the messages took a sinister turn. They sent photos of my friends, my family, even my coworkers, all taken from a distance, as if someone was following them too. The messages that accompanied the photos were cryptic, threatening. "I see everything," they taunted. Fear consumed me, but I was determined to unmask my stalker. I sought the help of a tech-savvy friend who managed to trace the IP address of the mysterious follower. It led to an abandoned building on the outskirts of town. Armed with this information, I convinced two friends to accompany me there. As we cautiously entered the dimly lit building, a sense of foreboding settled over us. The air was thick with dust and the musty smell of neglect. We ventured deeper, our footsteps echoing through the empty corridors. And then we found it. A room with a single computer, its screen glowing eerily in the darkness. On the screen was a live feed of my apartment. Horror coursed through my veins as I realized just how close this stalker had been. But the most unsettling part was yet to come. The door behind us creaked shut, and a voice echoed through the room. A voice I recognized, a voice that belonged to one of my friends. The pieces fell into place with a sickening thud. My friend had been the stalker all along, a twisted obsession that had driven them to invade my privacy, to terrorize me. The betrayal was a punch to the gut, the truth more terrifying than any stranger lurking in the shadows. But the twists didn't end there. As we confronted my friend, a chilling realization dawned upon us. The silhouette in my photos, the blurry figure in the background, they were still out there. My friend had been obsessed, yes, but they weren't the only one. Someone else had been watching, waiting for their chance to strike. The story of my Instagram stalker turned from a tale of one twisted individual to a dark web of intrigue and manipulation. The real stalker, the one who had orchestrated it all from the beginning, was still out there. And as the pieces of the puzzle shifted, I knew that the game was far from over. The digital world had always intrigued me, but I never thought it would become a haunting labyrinth of secrets and fear. It all started innocently enough when I began sharing glimpses of my life on Instagram. Photos of meals, travel, friends, the usual highlights. But then the likes started coming in, and so did the comments. One day, among the sea of emoji-laden comments, I noticed a user named Silent Watcher. The comment was simple. "You have a beautiful smile." I brushed it off, appreciating the compliment, but I didn't think much of it. That was until the comments continued, growing more personal and invasive with each post. At first, it was harmless details, mentioning my favorite coffee shop or the street I lived on. But then, things took a dark turn. A comment appeared under a photo of me at a party, one that I hadn't tagged my location in. "You looked stunning last night in the red dress." I I felt a chill run down my spine. I had worn a red dress that night, but I hadn't posted any photos from the event. My heart raced, and a sense of unease settled in. How did this person know these things? I went through my followers list, trying to find Silent Watcher, but their accounts seemed to have disappeared. Panic settled in as I realized I was being watched by someone who had gone to great lengths to stay hidden. I started receiving direct messages, each one more unsettling than the last. They seemed to know where I was, what I was doing, even when I hadn't posted about it. The messages ranged from eerie compliments to disturbingly intimate observations about my life. It was as if they were always one step ahead of me. With each passing day, the feeling of being watched grew stronger. My Instagram had transformed from a platform of connection to one of paranoia. I stopped posting about my whereabouts altogether. But that didn't stop the messages. In fact, they only grew more frequent, as if the stalker was angry that I had taken away their source of information. One day, as I walked down the street, I felt a presence behind me. Turning quickly, I saw a figure slip into an alleyway, a fleeting glimpse of a trench coat and a wide-brimmed hat. It couldn't be a coincidence. This was the same attire Silent Watcher had in their profile picture. My heart raced as I realized I was being followed in real life. Fear consumed me, but I couldn't let them see my panic. I hurried to a nearby cafe, my mind racing. As I sat in the corner, I noticed a note slipped under my coffee cup. My hands trembled as I unfolded it. "You can't escape me, even in the real world." That was the breaking point. I contacted the police, sharing every detail about Silent Watcher and the notes. They assured me they would investigate, but the stalker had already vanished like a shadow in the night. Weeks passed, and the messages stopped. The police had no leads, and I began to hope that the nightmare was over. Until one evening, as I scrolled through Instagram, a new photo appeared in my feed. A photo of me, taken through my own living room window. The caption read, "I'll always be watching." My heart sank as I realized that this wasn't over. The stalker had wormed their way into my life, both online and offline. Every shadow, every stranger on the street became a potential threat. And as the messages began again, more ominous than ever, I knew that the twisted game of cat and mouse was far from finished.